Hello and welcome to the first Tiny Table Talk of 2021. Now, in this episode, we're going to be talking about drones. We're going to be talking about editing. We're going to be talking about Fessy and getting to your comments. So without further ado, I would like to start off this segment saying, whoa boy, I think this looks really good on paper. You're bringing the challenge into more technologically savvy kind of way in this game by bringing in drones. I heard that they even had them doing like drone tutorial the day before. So you're kind of thinking that on paper, this should look really, really cool. But the production team and everybody that set this up needs to take a big L for this one because this was no bueno. This one was rather kind of boring to watch, at least. From what I saw when Devin and Tori actually were able to complete this, when Devin and Tori were looking at the board and then Devin said turn around, and when they did turn around, the platform was right there. So it seems like it wasn't that strenuous of a daily challenge and most people failed it. I totally want to see more puzzles. There's so much you could do with a theme of like double agents, Mission Impossible type of situation. Why not do something that's like I don't know how much fun this would be to watch, but it's like there's a radio, they're going over like certain things like a code like sunflower, rainbow, breathe, to where then you have to use that to decipher something on another board and you have to relay that to your partner in some other way. I think that would be different, but also play off like, okay, there's a code, there's a decipher code, we have to figure this out. And I'm sure that the production team was gritting their teeth when they had multiple teams crashing their drone within 30 seconds of starting this challenge. I think they were like, we thought this was gonna go one way and it totally didn't. I completely give it to them that they're trying something new, they're trying to do different things, but sometimes simple is better, and this was just not the way to go around it. I make videos, as you can tell. I wouldn't count myself as an editing expert, but I'm pretty familiar with how editing works. And I thought the editing was pretty good up until the beginning of this episode. I thought the first half of this episode was kind of bonkers with the editing, right? We get into the house and we're getting like confessionals of Fessy saying how close he is with Tori and how friendly they've been getting along with each other, which up to this point, I don't think I've seen them in the same room with each other besides the deliberation, yet somehow they are super close friends. Corey telling us that there's something going on between Fessy and Tori. Like, why aren't we seeing more of that leading up to this episode of the challenge? Another thing that wasn't really set up well, and that was Amber M and this whole Devin feud. I mean, up to this point, Amber M hasn't been in much of the episodes. Realistically, it's been like in the beginning of daily challenges and not really many confessionals. And then we get in this episode and everyone has to say something about Amber M. And then out of nowhere, it seems is like that Devin just goes, oh, Amber, go to bed. Nobody wants you out here, go to bed. And I guess the backstory that I heard from somebody else was that Amber M came to Devin saying that, hey, I didn't vote for you to go into the elimination. And then somebody closer to Devin, who Devin trusts more, came up to him and said, yes, she did. So that's where the lying and deceit comes from. And that's why he, I guess, has this thing where I don't want you around me anymore, go to bed type of thing. It was not the time. That was not the time. Something should have been shown, whether it was a small flashback or something to the beginning of this episode. And then the whole Liv leaving was so weird to me because at one point we see her in her bed talking with Amber and Big T and they're having a group hug. And then the next second when everybody's walking to the daily challenge, she's gone. It's like, did she like get lost on her way to this daily challenge? What happened? Why didn't we see her getting called to be medically DQ'd, or why didn't we get to see her backpacking sequence like we did with Nicole? Now, I heard that some things were edited out because Liv was going through something very tragic. She had a miscarriage. First of all, I want to say that my thoughts and prayers go out to her and her family. I hope she's doing much, much better. And I hope everything is okay with her. It just seemed super weird and janky how everything was put together. And then there was a moment that I totally missed, and I was totally oblivious to, and that was how Fessy was thrown into this elimination. All right, so I watched this episode multiple times, and multiple times this scene just completely went past me and over my head or something. I don't know what was happening, and it wasn't until I read your comments on my comment section for my Thursday review and recap where I was like, that's what happened? And I had to go back and rewatch it. How are Devin and Tori having this whole afternoon figuring out who they want to throw in, what's best for them in the long game, in the long term, and it only takes, what, a minute to 2 minutes? From them walking in and seeing it's a hall brawl to them all taking their places up at the top of the crater, that Fessy goes, oh, throw me in. Oh, it's Nelly. I don't care. Throw me in. Like, that's all it takes? Like, there was no other conversation that whole rest of the day between Devin and Tori to figure out who they want to throw in to the elimination? Unless Fessy and Tori are way closer when they have been appeared in this season. But I do not believe it. There has to be something else, because for everything to boil down to a sporadic, erratic decision as them just walking in and just saying 2 sentences to each other to solidify it makes no absolute sense to me. Like, what the heck? Like, come on, seriously? That's it? That's all it took? Then there must be something else going on. They must be super, super close and tight friends with each other if that's all it takes for Tori to just say yes to Fessy. And Devin, who's supposed to be this like mastermind and telling Tori, like, think of the long game. Think of the long game every time she's like, I want to throw myself in. And he's like, think of the long game, or whatever he says. And for him to just be like, okay, Fessy and Anissa, because they said it 30 seconds walking in. Like, that makes no sense to me. That absolutely makes no sense to me. To me, it was just completely all over the place, this episode, and I hope it does not continue from here on out. Now, this episode of The Challenge was capped off with Fessy going up against his friend Nelson in a hall brawl, and I think when you're boiling it down and you're thinking, okay, it's a game for $1 million, you're going to try to do what you have to do, whatever you have to do to try to get as far as you can to get that money. I understand that concept, but there's also a smart way to do it, and there's also a very risky and not so smart way to do it. I think Fessy really burned a ton of bridges on his way to a gold skull. Now, I know it was episode 2, and you don't want to take your shot too early, but I mean, we're only at episode 4, so you're only like a couple of days removed from that. But I mean, if you're episode 2, you go in against Joseph, you take him out, you get your gold skull, and everyone else is fine with it. This episode, he turned heel, he turned villain, set himself up, in my opinion, for failure later down the line. I mean, you're burning bridges with everybody at this point, showing that friendship does not mean anything to you. And he's over there telling Gabby that he is loyal. Shame, shame, I know your name. I mean, he's burned a bridge with Nelson, who's no longer in this season. He's burned a bridge with Corey, who's supposed to be his best friend in the game. He's burning bridges with everybody. And then he's bringing in a friend with Casey, which, yet again, I don't understand this strategy for bringing in Casey on your side at this point. You're already on the same side. You're already on the same alliance, and you're just putting her in firing range right now. I think why he brought Casey over was that, hey, we're both strong competitors, and together we might win more daily challenges, and that'll keep us safe. Not always. You can't guarantee that you're going to win daily challenges down the line. I thought that Kyle's pick for Cam was perfect. Kyle was on the outs, and then he picks Cam, and now he's within the larger alliance. This is just making enemies within the house, and I will say that I don't know if there's too many people that will take their shot at Fessy, but if they do get down the line and there is like a disadvantage in a daily challenge, in an elimination, or somewhere down the line, I feel as though somebody's going to put it on him. Would they put him on it regardless? Probably. But also, now they have a reason to. You don't want to give people reasons to do something to you later down the line. And I think the challenge has shown us anything in its history is that things will follow you from season to season. And I guess Fessy is just like stamping in that he's going to be a permanent resident on the challenge by making as many enemies as he can right now, and then moving along the lines from season to season. Now let's get to reading some of your comments from my Thursday's video review and recap of The Challenge Season 36, Episode 4. And we're going to start off with a comment from Abigail, who says, this episode played out like a soap opera. Betrayal. Moving backstory from Big T and Broken Hearts. This episode was madness personified. P.S. TJ's laughter brings me joy. I will say that I'm happy somebody enjoyed that daily challenge, and it was TJ. The next comment comes from King Kong TV, who says, honestly, Josh really out here trying to make rivalries with everyone. Plus, we need more Jay. I think that's a good point, that Josh is calling a ton of people out this season. And I think that Josh was calling out Jay because he wanted the house vote to be put on Teresa and Jay, so that way he would feel more comfortable going up against Jay in an elimination. So I feel as though that whole thing of like vibes, I don't like your vibe, you like Devin. It seemed really weird, especially with the editing after Tori was like, Devin wants to say your name, and then he goes right outside to be like, hey, Casey and Jay, you like Devin. I don't like your vibe. BEK Styles says, fun fact, in the beginning, Cam, Jay, and Teresa wanted CT versus Fessy, but Corey and Nelson said no to that idea. Cam also told Nelson Fessy wasn't gonna stay loyal to him, but Nelson didn't listen. So that's really, really interesting that they wanted to have CT versus Fessy. That would have been a very, very interesting hall brawl. Can I just say, that was terrible, terrible tactics. I hated his strategy in that hall brawl. For somebody who wants to go in a hall brawl, he was doing the most to hurt Nelson. And it's like, that's your friend and you're ripping off the face mask, you're putting his face in dirt, you're like pounding him into the ground over and over again. Like, really? Like, I've seen mortal enemies go into an elimination with each other and they don't play like that. And I'm sure that MTV is going to have some rules coming into another hall brawl that you have to do, like stay up on your feet, you can't go to the ground too much, or you can't wrestle on the ground. And I harken back to Duel 2, where TJ stopped the elimination in the middle of Landon and Brad when they had the hooks on each other, and Landon kept on smashing Brad's face in the ground over and over again. I mean, that's when TJ was like, hold on. You're not playing this right, and Brad gets a point. I mean, I thought something was going to happen to where they're going to have to reset. Like, I don't know how long they were down there because of the editing, but I thought at some point they were going to be like, hey, you can't do this. He was going to tap on the little plexiglass and be like, hey, you can't do this. We're going to reset. You can't be ripping off face masks. You can't be putting people in dirt. Stay up on your feet. Let's go. But I think this is something that we've never seen happen on the challenge before, and they don't know what to do at this point. So they're just like, don't do that again, and that's how they're going to handle it right now, and then they'll figure it out later down the line. The next comment comes from Lovable Nikki, who says, it's weird that no one realized it's a men's elimination when TJ told Michi his partner would be determined in the next elimination. Side-eye. That is a very good point. I feel as though that there could be a twist soon with the eliminations, but I hope there is, because it's getting kind of predictable on when somebody's going to be going into the elimination. I hope there is going to be a moment where they do switch it up and then there's 2 man eliminations in a row, or both people will have to go into the elimination, and whoever wins, they are now a partner. They are now a duo. The next comment comes from Poppy B, who says, can we appreciate how Nam asked Anissa if she was okay being thrown in by her friend? I thought that was amazing. And it just shows how innocent Nam is. You just want to like pinch his cheeks and be like, I want to be your friend. Because there is a point where everybody's just like gasping. They're making that oh face. And then Nam is just like, is it okay? like yes, it's totally fine. I loved Anissa, just like looked at him with a smile and was like, yeah, it's fine. Next comment comes from Carissa, who says, the real double agents are the Icelandic doctors that let Liv think that she could possibly continue after sending Nicole home right away. That's a great point. It looked like Nicole's injury was way worse than Liv's, it looked like, but we didn't really see too much from Liv. But I mean, Nicole's whole shoulder was popping out. I guess they're gonna look at it more like in the x-rays or something. Maybe they thought it was a sprain, but I heard that there was a chip missing from her shoulder. So yeah, I agree with you. The next comment comes from a Patty who says, everyone except Nelson crapped all over Amber this episode. I hope she proves them wrong by winning a challenge. I agree. I mean, Amber M is nowhere in this challenge for the first 3 episodes. Very minimal is she in any of the episodes. And then this episode, everyone has something to say about her. Everyone has something to say. I mean, you got Devin talking bad about her. You got Corey in a confessional saying how nobody wants to be her partner. Why would you ever partner up with Amber M? And then Fessy's giving her that look on camera when TJ like suggests that, oh, you can stay with Anissa or you could take Amber M. I get that she is one of the smaller women. She's one of the smaller competitors in the game, but my goodness, like everyone had something to say about her when she hasn't even been really featured heavily in any of the episodes up to this point. I thought it was vastly unfair for her, and like you said, nobody stepped up except for Nelson, and now he's out of the game. So maybe her new partner, Michi, will have her back. Something tells me that he will. And the final comment for this comment section is from Chris, who says, a coworker once flew a drone into my hair. I had to cut it out of my knotted hair. Somehow, that incident was less disastrous than the daily challenge. I hope everything is okay with your hair. That sounds like a horrific ordeal. And somehow you say that's worse than this daily challenge. I believe you. But that is it for this episode of Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge, Season 36, Double Agents, Episode 4. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think is going to be the ramifications of Fessy now that he has done this? And what do you think he's going to be walking into the house? What do you think is everyone's going to be saying about him to him? And how do you think this will affect his long-term game? Let me know that in the comment section below. Let me know anything and everything you have to say about this episode. I want to hear what you have to say. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more challenge content, more challenge double agent content, and more content in general. But until then, peace.